Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We are the National Children's Band of Scotland. My name is Alan Fernie. I'm the extraordinarily lucky person to call himself the musical director of these phenomenal young people who have been, of course, resident in Strathallan for a week, as Carrie has, I'm sure, told you. They are all either 13, 12, 11, 10, or 9. It's astonishing. And we come from all areas and parts of Scotland. We have kids from as far west as Stranraer and as far east as Dunbar, and also Campbellton in the west to Galashiels in the south, and Edinburgh in the east, all the way up to Inverness in the Highlands. So they are from all over Scotland, and for them to come together to make that noise, it's just amazing. And it's a great testament to the work that goes on in our instrumental music services and schools and bands around Scotland. It's never celebrated enough, I think. And when you hear something like that, you realise what good job these people do. That opening piece was called Gold Rush, written by a very talented composer from the Borders called Cameron Maben, and all the music that will be played this afternoon, more or less, has got a wee Scottish connection. We're awfully good at writing music here in Scotland. Good composers, but good bands as well, aren't we? You can hear that. We have, I've told you how old these kids are, but we've asked them some big questions this week with the music. We've not been easy on them. It's been really difficult, especially if they've had a diet of school dinners and sweeties for a week. And let's face it, no enough of it is sleep. So this performance will be phenomenal. This is maybe the biggest question that we've asked them. We're going to play a beautiful piece of music by another Scottish composer, Kenneth Downey. Kenneth Downey grew up in the Salvation Army in Greenock, down by the Clyde there, and made his way south, where he joined the Salvation Army music unit. But then he left that to retrain as a jeweller. And he set up business in Winchester, in England, as a jeweller. But he also still composes music, he's still with us, and he really does produce polished gems. See what I did there? See what I did? And this is a particularly sparkling diamond of a piece. It's extraordinarily difficult, but these guys just make it sound easy. This is a beautiful meditation called In Perfect Peace. I'm sorry, I was just here a wee minute after that one. Isn't that phenomenal? Absolutely phenomenal. I've conducted many adult bands in that, but I've never heard the notoriously difficult cornet and trombone solos played so well than by Charlie Corvo. Iris D. They are a great band, they really are. What a great bunch of kids. The big thing for me is I don't do this myself, absolutely no danger. We have a brilliant team of people who look after them. And I'll get to the music staff in a minute, but probably more important are the people who look after them. We just teach them how to play. There is a brilliant staff of people who are called the house staff. And I'd like to mention all of them because they're all phenomenal. We have a great team. We've got Leslie, we've got Reese, and we've got Karen, and we work together. I like to work with the house staff and talking to them about things, and they tell us how they go. We've also got 2 ex-members of the NYBBS who are here as support for some of our young players, Robin and Carol, and they've actually been helping the kids playing as well. It's been phenomenal. Kind of vaguely in charge of them, I think. I don't think is anybody in charge of them? No. But I always look at Jennifer Cook as being slightly in charge because she's got the bossiest voice. So thanks, Jennifer. Invaluable. And there's one particular member of house staff who puts in a double shift, because not only is he a phenomenal house staff member, he's like a bass player, and he always comes and plays the bass for us. Mr. Jim Milligan. And then we go to the music staff as well. There are 5 gifted instructors who helped me along the way. 6 in fact, 6 this year. We're the same team as we had out in 2019, but we have a new addition because we have 2 lovely young gentlemen at the back of the band, our percussion section, Oscar and Anthony. And looking after them is a young man who I feel great affection for because he comes from my neck of the woods, Midlothian. In fact, I worked with him when he was a young man himself, when he was at St David's High School. He's now about to enter his 4th year in the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, and he's fitted in with the golf this week. He's been brilliant. Mr. Andrew Murphy. Looking after what I call our big chimneys, that is the baritones, the euphoniums, and our wonderful young bass player, Xander, is a very, very talented and lovely chap, the conductor of the Dalmelton Brass Band, Mr. Gary Williams. Looking after the proper brass instruments, the trombones, is, oh sorry, I offended anybody there, sorry. The ones without valves, is a gentleman who has been brave enough not only to start a band but maintain and be very successful with a brass band in the previously brass band free zone of Inverness, Mr. Mark Bell. The biggest section of any band is the cornet section, and looking after these fabulous guys have been 2 of the very best. These kids could not have had better tutors all week. They are simply brilliant. They're both ex-principal cornet players of the National Youth Brass Band and gifted teachers and musicians in their own right. And they can still play a bit, the 2 of them as well. Caroline Farron and Ian Tonner. Every programme should have a march, and the band is now going to play a march. This is a little march called the Jedburgh Snail. Now, this is the story we gave the kids, that in the town of Jedburgh, in the Scottish borders, snails are a delicacy. They are delicious. It's a special kind of snail that only lives in Jedburgh. It's called a Jedburgh snail. and we brought some Jeather snails to the kids to try their sweets. But we didn't tell them that. So I brought a cardboard box of sweeties into the rehearsal, and they're all going, so just in case you think that we've been feeding them snails all week, this is a march I wrote for Abbey Brass Jet Forest Band a couple of years ago, and to conduct it is our other remaining member of staff, a young man who looks after the horn section here at the Children's Band, National Brass Band of Scotland, also from the Borders, and just a talented musician. Wherever Stuart Black goes, there's a young folk playing. He's like a Pied Piper with the unhappy ending. He's like, he's absolutely phenomenal. So welcome to conduct the Jeather Snail, Mr. Stuart Black.
Today, the National Children's Band of Scotland pay an affectionate tribute to the great Eric Ball and his popular composition from the 1940s, Indian Summer.
Alan Fernie has adapted the original work and added 3 new movements to create a fresh take on this well-loved brass band classic.
So sit back and enjoy our tale of love across the divide, cowboys and Indians, a frontier romance.
Picture the scene, the wide open plains of the Old West, where for many moons the natives have lived in peace and harmony, watched over with dignity by their beloved and wise old chief.
Then there comes a distant rumble of thunder. However, this thunder brings no rain. Instead, we see a convoy of covered wagons from the east, bringing the white man across the prairies, seeking out his brave new world.
Who has been watching these visitors from afar, and they fall indignantly and hopelessly in love.
By the cool waters, away from all the hubbub, the star-crossed young lovers nervously talk, get to know each other, and maybe just even dance.
Interrupting a reverie, her father, the great chief, discovers them. Furious, he orders his daughter back to the camp and organizes his braves to mount an attack at dawn on the unwelcome intruders.
At the height of battle, the chief's daughter implores everyone to stop fighting, lay down their weapons, and consider living in peace as one nation.
The two sides agree, and prayers and offerings are given to the Great Spirit with hope that all humankind can be at peace across any divides that may exist. Indeed, a message for all times.
Thank you very much. That was just a wee bit different take on Eric Ball's classic Indian Summer. I decided to bring the cowboys into it as well and create a wee story for our times. Phenomenal achievement for the kids to play a 7-movement suite without any kind of breaks or anything like that, and well done especially to the narrators as well. So it's phenomenal stuff there. Well done. This is just a wee short concert. We have actually come to the last piece. There is one after it. If you shout loud enough, if you clap. I tried to say clap and shout at the same time. It came out as clout. That's a good Scottish word, isn't it? Honestly, but haven't they clouted any of the buildings? Well, the music staff haven't they? Maybe the house staff. No, I'm sure they haven't. Have you had a clout? You don't care what a clout is, do you? No. But before we do that, there are some very, very, very pleasant things to do. One of the things that we do is, over the course of the week, there's lots of activities that go on. I'm sure Carrie will tell you about those at some point. But one of the things that we have is the NYBBS Solo Contest. This took place on Wednesday afternoon. We had 9 entrants from this band, all kinds of different music, everything from Harry Potter to James Bond, to some classic solos and some ragtime. And we have 3 prize winners. I don't know, Carrie, if there are 3 prizes, or do we just announce the 3?
Yes, please.
3 prizes. The competition was judged by 2 tutors from the senior band, the cornet tutor Richard Poole from the famous Foden's band, and indeed an ex-member of the National Youth Brass Band of Scotland, the horn player Shona Wade. And in 3rd place was given to one of our cornet team, NYBBS. And second prize was given to the chap that sits next there, the Campbelltown Charlie Colville. And the winner of the competition with a phenomenal performance of the Roy Newsom's tenor trombone rag, so good that I am going home to practice now. Miss Iris Dean. The next are 2 special awards that we always give out. This is for the best section and the best student of the week. And we debated with the instructors. We also consulted the house staff to see had the people that we've chosen, did they behave themselves? And that was no bad, no bad, no bad. The best section, and I'm absolutely delighted to announce this award, because it goes to 2 players in the band. One who has been with us for a long time. I'm sure he must be about 18 now, but apparently he's still only 13, but he's a phenomenal musician and a great guy in so many respects. And the other, a newbie, her first ever course, and they have both been absolutely magnificent all week. So the award for the best section goes to our first baritones, David Orr and Emily Crocker. away the award for the best student. Is it called the NYBBS Award? It's called the NYBBS Award. Did we eat NYBBS at some point? I think we did, didn't we? Corn NYBBS. No, right, okay. It all seems so long ago now. Now this is a student, and this gives me great pleasure to give this award. She musically has been astounding all week. She's not sitting in a principal seat, but she's done so much. She's filled in this, she's done that, the tutors have asked her to do this, and she's never, ever put a foot wrong. We did ask the house staff about her behaviour, and they went, But then they says, actually, she's not as bad as some of them. She's just the same as the rest of them, actually. So I am so pleased to announce the award because she plays with my band, Catherine Robertson. Actually, they all deserve an award. They really do. They've been phenomenal to work with. I've learned so much from them. Some of which I wish I hadn't learned. But they have just been great, and they've put up with our unreasonable demands for the right notes at the right time. That's annoying, Morgan, isn't it? You're quite enjoying yourself, and all of a sudden, what? No, that's the wrong note. No, I'm enjoying myself. I don't care. Is that right, Morgan? Yeah, right, okay. Okay, and I've heard some terrible, terrible jokes, but I heard a really good one, and it came from Logan. What's Beethoven's favourite food? Banana. Yeah. So, we are going to play our final piece. This is a composition actually written especially for the band in 2018 by Paul Cooper, who's half Scottish, so he kind of qualifies for our Scottish composer thing. And it's called Slam Dunk. Thank you very much.
Oh, someone say more? I don't know if they're loud enough. Did I hear someone say more? I'm not going to say too much other than to thank you all for coming along to our first of 2 concerts. It has been an absolute superb afternoon. On behalf of the NYBBS family, your young people are an absolute credit to you. We've had a fantastic time, as Alan has already said, with them this week. And the only final person that we need to say a huge thanks to is the inspiration, the man behind our children's band, the driving force. He works with a superb team round about him, but without him, this band would not be what it is today, and our young people certainly would not be in the place that they are without him. Finally, from ourselves, can I offer a huge, huge thanks to the musical director of the children's band, Mr. Alan Fernie.
Would you like one more? Well, it just so happens. After the party of Paul at Cooper's slammed out, we thought we'd calm things down a wee bit. Isn't Scotland great? I love Scotland. These are all Scots kids, I say they're from Stranraer, Campbellton, goodness knows where, even Whitburn. Thank you very much. We've even got a couple of fifers in the band. So I thought it'd be nice if we celebrate our country. This is a little tune I composed to celebrate the beautiful Scottish landscape. This is the Roll